Hey, it's Don the Osh Professor. Today I'm going to go over shipping and packing some items here. We're just going to get right into it here. It's a busy day for me, and I figured I'd just pack a few things and kind of show you how I do it. I'm going to show you the items I use first and where to get them at, and then we'll go from there with the actual packing. Now, I talk about Walmart. Walmart boxes are what I buy for the most part. When I buy boxes. There's nothing wrong with getting used boxes, but for me, I mail the exact same things out daily. Every single day I send a bunch of postcards out, I send some books out, vintage items, whatever the case may be. I send the same items all the time, records or 78s, and Walmart is the best place to get them. There is an issue, though, with Walmart. Walmart, on the boxes, at least my local 2 Walmart stores, there's only 2 locally, you cannot order boxes from them. You just got to get lucky with whatever's on the shelf. But the problem with what's on the shelf is they've actually cut it in half, the amount, in all the stores I've seen, the amount of boxes they carry. And the managers and no one in the store can actually reorder quantities on that. They're automatically reorders, and they get like 36 at a time. So when I come in, I buy every one they got. You know, and I go in Walmart, you know, a couple times a week probably for something. So, you know, this is what I get. This one's like 70 cents or so. This is a 12 by 12 by 12. And then this is the one that I use the most. Now this is a 14 by 14 by 14, and this is like 79 cents tax out the door. I buy them in quantities every time. I never let my stock go below half because, you know, who knows what's going on with Walmart. I've got into it. It took me a month or two just to find out that you can't reorder those. No one wanted to tell me that. So I don't know if Walmart hates onliners or what. But, you know, they used to carry twice as many in the store and you could get them anytime you wanted, but not these days. So I don't know what the deal is. I've been buying from Walmart for years. Another issue on this, you might want to get a backup source. Now, I've got 2 box makers here locally that we deal with occasionally, and I get what's called end cuts too. If you like bubble wrap and you want to save yourself like 90% of the cost on what you're spending from a regular store, track down a box manufacturer and ask for end cuts. Now, if you're not familiar with what an end cut is, a bubble wrap manufacturer will produce huge rolls and reams of these, and they'll cut them down for specs for certain specific companies. The company order like bags, and they'll cut these things down, and it'll be heat sealed together into bags and things like that. And at the end of the day, they have the end of this roll that they can't use because it's oddball size or whatever the case may be. A lot of these rolls they get sometimes have oddball sizes, and they have to be cut down to be squared off on the end. So you can get a roll like standing this tall, you know, rolled wrapped this way, for like $10, and I'm talking 400 or 500 feet of bubble wrap for like $10. So, you know, it's out there. If you haven't heard of end cuts are the bomb for that. I don't mess with it because I get free newspaper from everybody we know. So, anyway, and the other thing too on this for my labels. I'm not going to show you who's on it, but for the labels, I print them on a piece of paper. Now, I know you can double print them and all. I don't worry about the double printing. Paper that I buy is really cheap, and again, I buy it by the case, and it's shipped. Walmart is the cheapest place I found for a case offline. Sometimes Home Depot or Office Depot do have them on sale too, where you can get a case, you know, a bunch of reams, 10, 20 reams at a time. And I buy them in that quantity and set them aside if I don't use them straight through. But then it's just a matter of cutting out the label. I do this for every single thing I have. I do not buy labels because I would be buying 500 a week, and it's just not financially good. Now, I usually whip through these. I'm obviously sitting here talking, so it may look like I'm going slow, but I'm really quick on these. We have a paper cutter, too, when we've got a bunch of them, or when there's more than one person wrapping up, too, which we do as well, too. I save these, since there's no printable information with anybody's ID or anything on it, and I use these for packing material. You know, so I've got, you know, 50 of these sometimes a day, or sometimes 100 of these a day from wrapping up stuff. So I just throw them aside. I've got a box full, so when I'm ready to send a record out, it saves me time crumbling up stuff. So anyway, that's with that. That's the label. On these two, I'll show you some of the wrapping material too. These are the postcard sleeves. Now, there's tons of different varieties. What you really want is 2 mil. I buy 2 mil for everything. All my bags are 2 mil. The poly bags are 2 mil, and they come out in packs of 100. I buy these 5,000 at a time or 10,000 at a time. May sound crazy that much, but over time, if you buy them in quantity, you're going to save a lot of money. And the same with these. I don't care on these poly bags here who made them or what seller they come from the most part. Any one that's 2 mil, these are 6x9s. This is what a postcard or most of the smaller items, even some books will slide into here too. These are the ones I use for the postcards. Again, I buy them in mass quantities. Another thing I do, talking about printing, I've got labels for do not bend and fragile, and I literally just, these are pieces of paper. I'll print them just like I do the labels, and big sheets of these, and then we'll just take a paper cutter and whip these up real quick. It saves time on writing. It's super quick to print up and cut. I'll stack up like 6 sheets of labels and whack them all up at the same time with a paper cutter. I got 3 or 4 different sizes of paper cutters, so that's what I use for that. Again, the bags, 6x9s, and then the larger bags I get actually off of eBay from my my freebies, just because I can't get boxes from them for the most part, because the size of boxes they have, they've discontinued all the big ones now and said no one wants them. It's obviously not the case. I don't like their forced $150 box deal they've got going, because their boxes are twice what I can get them for any day of the week. So they're ripping off sellers. That is one, I guess, a complaint I could say. I would have rather had the discount, the double discount on final value fees, than them giving me boxes or forcing me to buy boxes. Who's ever selling us these boxes is making money on them. And I don't like the fact that they're saying it's a service, but yet they're making money on the boxes. And again, the boxes aren't good. They're actually, the Walmart boxes are better. And, you know, I just haven't had much luck with their whole shipping issue. So, you know, that's the one issue I could say that they still need to correct to make it good for the sellers. Again, as I said, they discontinued the larger size boxes, which I used to get, and they said no one wants them. That's not true. It cost a lot to ship these, so the free shipping, it's keeping their costs down. They got rid of the boxes that cost them more money to ship out to us. So that's all they did. You know, I don't care what they say. I know that's the case. I'm going to live with it and just move on. It's not worth my time. But like for the dividers I have to divide these, I order from the same people I get the poly sleeves from. And then I got poly sleeves in a different size. I do the 5x7s, which covers all the cards and greeting cards and things like that. And as I said, the other ones do the postcards. So, and then when those sizes aren't any good, I also get from Walmart these twist tie bags. These are just like $1.99 or somewhere in that range. I'll buy a bunch of these at once, because they do run out of these as well. Same issues with the boxes. It's something they can't order. It's just automatically ordered by the system. There's no override, apparently. They don't give the managers a choice, because I've talked to the managers at Walmart. Managers can't even override. It's auto on everything like that. But twist ties. And the other thing I get from Walmart is the plastic wrap. And they've got, this one is the cheapest. It's just as good as the name brand. You know, it comes in the same standard roll. I actually use the rolls from that, these right here, to mail out, you know, rolled up items. I've got, you know, probably about 50 of these. Everybody I know uses the Walmart one. I've asked family members to use the Walmart one. And I sometimes go through a couple rolls in a day sometimes when I'm packing certain items. I use the saran wrap to pack up anything that's not like a book or paper or anything like that. Paper all goes in plastic bags. And even like these here, these are ordered special. This is, I think these are 12 by... I think 14 is what these are. And these are off eBay, and Amazon has them too. I'll get some links in the bottom for some of this too. But I put anything bigger, like the 10-incher records, go in here. Again, for records, the big, you know, 12-inch records, I have 14-inch square bags that I got from eBay and or Amazon. So anyway, that's with that. You've got the labels, you know, I do records and everything with the same thing. But let's start with the boxes here. For the boxes, this is what I do for most all my paper items with the boxes. I literally chop these down with a knife. I use a knife for everything. An X-Acto blade is a lot easier to make a mistake and cut yourself with. I had an X-Acto blade fall, and it actually landed straight up on my foot once. I don't wear shoes sometimes. I've been cut with X-Acto blades. I've had my clothing cut. I even cut myself sometimes with these if I'm really quick. But what I do is, as you see here, I'm cutting these down into panels. So at the end of the day, this is going to be cut down as well, and we'll cut them down into panels. And I do this for this size, the 14-inch square and the 12-inch squares, the same thing. And then from here, to get to a postcard size, which is this size here, all you do is you take this same box and we're going to cut it down. Use this, the fold, the flaps, as your guiding line, and you're just going to sit here and cut down right there. You're going to cut that down like this. I then go ahead and I'm going to cut this down one more time. Same thing with this. And I do this for a couple boxes at a time just because I send out a lot of stuff. So I need a lot of these every day of the week. So I'll cut down the rest of these for small cards. So that's what I do with the cards. We'll go ahead and wrap one right now. Let me show you the dispenser too. I use this for my tape. Now I've got a couple of these. These are U-lines. I'll put a link down here. There's many places to get these. The link I'll show down here is the cheapest one that I think you could probably find shipped to you. But these are really good. I've got a bunch of these. Once I saw the first one and used it, I bought a couple more of them just in case. They're like $22 shipped. So anyway, we'll take the postcard. This is a real picture postcard. I think I got $17.50 out of this one. And it's literally just sliding it in there into the bag. You're going to take your dispenser and then boom. Now again, it takes me a little longer to sit here and explain it. I whip these up really quick. So do most of the people that help me ship. Again, I take these boxes, the ones I just cut down. You can literally force a finger there and it'll make a crease. No knives or serrations needed on these. And again, doing the same thing. And that's all there is to putting the card in there. And I double tape. I use a lot of tape. I'll have a link down to the tape too. I buy 36 rolls of this. I think it's like 220 yards. And it's like $36 or so shipped. So somewhere in that range. You'll look down there. It's the cheapest one that I've found. And I'm cheap, so you know the link down there will be good to buy the tape. It's stuff that I use. It's the same stuff that's in this right here too. But then it just goes in a poly bag. I rip off the little tape thing so I can seal it. It goes in there. The piece I put inside the envelope, the poly bag, is not sticky. There's nothing to it. It's nothing to bother anybody with. Seal it, and then it's just a matter of sticking the label on it. And again, I'm showing you standing up and in an odd position here, so it's usually a lot quicker and easier for me to do this when I'm doing it by myself with nobody, having to worry about recording. But literally, that's all there is to it. Again, if I needed to put a do not bend on it, I just lay one out here. The size I printed them, you could just roll a piece of tape over it and you're done. Nothing else to it. Just zip, boom, and the do not bend label is on there. But that's all there is to those kind of mailings here. And again, if it's something bigger, I still do the same thing. Like a record here, or let's show you a record real quick. I'll do a record. And again, these are the same ones I just showed you, the twist tie baggies. I put the 45s. This is the Moments. I won't do anything. I think I sold for $7.50. May not sound like it much, but these are like 10-cent records for me. I only pay 10 cents or less. Goes in one of these bags. I fold it over so it's, the same size and across. Do that. Quick piece of tape. And we're just going to seal it in here. Nothing much to it. Just be careful when you're doing it. Make sure you've got a sleeve for it. Just a standard white stock sleeve. And then what I do is I take the same ones I just mailed the postcards in, and I'll do this with it. And again, it easily folds. Take one that way, take another one this way. And people buy these all the time. I've got 79 cents into this box. And again, as I said, once you cut this box up the way I showed you, you get 16 of these pieces of cardboard for 79 cents. You can either do 16 postcards, 16 pieces of paper, or lesser items like, a couple records or something like that. But once I got it in here, I fold two in the same direction, as you see. So this is the opening on both the two, and then this one here is going to be the one that actually seals the package. And I've never had a complaint ever doing it this way. And again, I'm a little awkward out of position just because this isn't usually the angles and such where I do it. But you can kind of get the gist of it here. We'll just seal this one up real quick so you can see it. And, that's literally about it. But I actually do is go ahead and I tape on the edges here. We'll just do a quick one here just so you can see. And then I seal it shut. Again, people say it's a lot of tape, but this is literally how I do it for everything. Done it this way forever. I don't get complaints ever about my packing or shipping or anything like that. But that's a record. If it's something bigger, like let's say a book, I wrap up all my books in cardboard, every single one. I don't care what people say. I know people just throw in poly bags and they're done with it. I wrap everything up. Like a book like this size, again, you're just folding this as well, and then this will go in one of the poly bags. That's it. You know, I put a piece of tape this way, a piece of tape this way, and it's ready to go into the mail. So, bigger items, magazines. Magazines like this. Instead of cutting down these pieces here, I leave them into the 4 sides, and then what you have, you put them in one of the poly bags or one of your bags you have here. This fits all the magazines, these Walmart ones. It goes into this here easily. I tape it shut, and then you're going to just sit here. You've got a flap right here all ready to go. Again, this would be sealed up in plastic. I'm just showing you one just to show you. And then from here, I do use the knife again in this way. I'm going to put another one right here at the edge of it, and I'm going to use the knife, and I'm going to score carefully right there at the edge. You'll fold it. You can score one more time, just like this, and then you fold it. Another zip down the side. Now this is for anything good that's paper. You fold it back over, and then you just tape around it. You know, just literally grab the tape. I'll go ahead and I'll run tape this way and seal it up this way. I'll run tape around here. So there'll be 3 strips of tape going horizontal with the package around the edges. And then I put a piece of tape here and then seal each edge on this. So, you know, I'm just going to do this one. And again, I'm taking a little longer. I'm not doing it normally as I would, just to kind of show you. I usually wrap them up very well. So, you know. And once you've done enough of these, you get really going fast here, and it's not any much of an issue. I don't spend a lot of time, even though it looks like it at this point. But I like to wrap, you know, as best I can everything. And then, of course, I'll do the other side. And then my do not bend will go on these too. Once I get to this area here, I'm going to put do not bend on it. I'll just put my little label here, or my piece of paper, and just tape it on. And then on the other side, I'll tape one on this side, just like this, and then the label's going to go right there. So, you know, that's all there is to it. Label here, do not bend, do not bend. And every one of my packages looks exactly the same. Every postcard, every piece of paper that's in this size that will fit in these 2mm 6x9 poly bags. Every one looks the same. Every one of the books, the magazines, the sheet music is in one of these. Now, if this was a bigger piece, I use the next size up. Walmart has bigger boxes than the 14-inch. I'll buy 3 or 4 of those. It's a huge box, so I'm not going to show it right now, but all you got to do is look at Walmart. The next size up is the extra large box, and it's out to about here, so you can ship more items. And the bigger the item is you're mailing, you want to maybe even double it. So on some fragile items, once I wrap the first part up like this, I'll just put another box around it. Same way I did it here. So if it's an expensive item, you do the same thing. And then boom, you take this up, you tape this shut, and then you've got it really, it's hard as can be. It's not going to get bent or damaged like this. And it's just 2 pieces. And again, it's 79 cents for this box. So I've got about 40 cents into mailing this, which isn't expensive at all. So that's a pretty good price in my opinion. So that's literally all it is to this. And if I'm doing a book or something else along that line, I also will do the same thing. Now, this is making a custom box. Books, games, board games, anything along that line. I'll take this same principle. Let me start with a fresh one here. Same principle here. I'm going to just line this up. I'll do a line here, fold it, do another cut here, fold it, and then fold it. And then in the last one here, I just literally do the same thing. And then once you tape it shut, it's all good to go. So like board games or anything that can be done like this, anything non-breakable, this is what I do with it, literally. So every single thing that I ship out that, you know, is anything goes in some form of cardboard, everything. You know, if it's toys or little stuff, I'll just put them in a little box. I'll use the paper as wrap for it. I'll use wrapping here to seal everything. Everything gets sealed. The clothing gets wrapped immediately before I even sell it. I take the photos and everything was put in bags immediately. And they're all numbered and labeled just like I would have been. So anyway, that's with that. And the other one that I get a lot of questions on is wrapping rolled items here too. Now for rolled items, Here's an Elvis poster. We had a conversation. Somebody has some Elvis photos that we were talking about in my Facebook group. So, you know, I just thought I'd show this one out here too. But Elvis posters sell too. But for posters, literally I'll zip them down real tight. For these, I usually just use the saran wrap around a poster. And I'll just literally roll it around the poster and put one single piece of tape on the edge. For most of these as well, too, there's a real easy way to do it. As I said, I get everybody buying the plastic wrap, the Walmart plastic wrap. I use a ton of this. I sometimes go through 4 or 5 of these in a week if we're wrapping up a lot of bigger items and toys and things like that. So I get a bunch of these. I always set them aside. Poster rate on what I sell, I get more of these than I sell, so I'm fine. Family members bring me these a couple times a month. I'll get you know, a couple of these from at least 3 or 4, 5, 6 family members. And what I do with these will fit. You just have to have the poster. Excuse me. Here, let's shrink this up just a little bit here. You'll just zip this up, as I said. Get it into the size that you know is going to fit into here. And wrap it in plastic. And then it literally fits in one of these. I know this isn't long enough, so you'll wonder, you know, how you're going to get that in there. Hang on here. I only zipped up one side. When it's sealed in plastic, you don't have these issues. So trust me, this is the easiest way I have found. Let's just do it this way. You'll get it in here. In the plastic again, once it's in the plastic, it's a lot easier to manipulate it into the tube. But I'll just do that with the tube once it's in there. I know this may look odd and stuff, and you may be worried about the seam here, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that tube. I'm just going to tape it up here in the middle. Now this is one way. I'm going to show you another way to mail rolled items in just a second here as well too. Then I'm going to go ahead and I literally do a bunch to this. You got to put some tape around it in different directions. So it's a crisscross and it holds this together. I know this seems like a lot of work, but you know, I zip these up. It takes me about a minute or so to get one of these going. And then once I got, you know, a couple more wraps of tape on the middle side here, I'll just go ahead and take one of these same boxes and then I do this to it. It does not matter what this looks like. People have laughed and said things, but it's always been safe. And then I'm going to tape this on here. I tape the edges. I'll tape it on the other side. On the sides of those pieces of paper I crumble up from the labels, I'll shove part of that in the ends of this, and then I'm going to tape the ends shut. I'll tape them, let me show you one here. I'll tape the ends up too. One piece that way. Now, any of the tubes you get, you can, you know, save yourself some time if you really want to buy them. They're a couple bucks sometimes for a pack of 3 and 4. There are local areas you can buy them too, but if you're into straps, this one will always work. I put the label running here on this, so the label fits perfectly on here. It's got a better place to ship it to, and literally, this isn't going to go anywhere once you've taped it on here. And again, I tape the stuff all the way around here. I'll run a couple pieces of tape running the entire length of this, and then I'll stick some do not bends on either side of the tube. It fits perfectly like that. Again, I use this for even expensive stuff. Now there's another way you can do it too. If you want to do that same poster, let's say here's a poster. Again, you cut down the boxes. Buy the bigger boxes, the extra large size, which are 16 and some odd inches. And let's say again, this is the poster. You're going to make a triangle box for yourself. So you've gone ahead here, you've made a little incision. We'll do another one. Fold it like this. Fold it. Fold it. And again, it just depends on how much time and effort you mind putting into it. You do this enough, it's a quick, easy thing. Just don't cut yourself. That's the biggest problem. And I'll cut off some of these flaps sometimes if I think it's strong enough with what I have. I usually use a whole side. Again, it's 20 cents to mail one of these. It's cheaper than a tube. And you can do it literally like this. And then you just tape this up and then a label goes on this, either that way or that way. So literally that's what you would do with mailing a tube, a poster, anything like that. And again, if the poster's longer, get the extra large size. The next size up. This is the large, this is the 14 square, and there's a 16 or 18 inch, I think it actually is at Walmart. I've got some up here, I don't remember the exact size, but you can look it up yourself. So literally, this is what I use for everything. Again, there's no problem with anybody dumping for trash diving or anything for boxes, getting used boxes. We buy, boxes because we do the same thing, and I want the same sizes for everything. We sell the same items all the time. All the dealers who do all just shoes or do whatever they do, if they're just doing postcards, or they already have a plan for how they're doing it. And I figured all this out, just through time, and figured out what's the best bet. And boxes especially was the one area I wanted to cut my cost down. Walmart is the cheapest. Second source would be local box manufacturers. That's literally about what I do with all the main items. I'll go over packing glass and bigger items like some of the picture frames I do as well too. I use the Walmart boxes. Even if it's a bigger item, you're still able to use them, and I will show you how to do that in another video here. But for now, I'm covering the main issues that I sell. Custom boxes, as I showed you, for the books, wrapping it up that way works great for all kinds of items. All the board games, the regular 70s, 60s, all those board games fit like that. All the boxed items I can fit like that. Christmas ornaments, whatever the case may be, you can wrap up all kinds of individual items the same way I just showed you. You can get the bigger flaps from the next size up if you've got bigger items. You can print or do stuff like this. If you can't fit one item in here, I'll do a couple of these running this way. So, that's the same basic principle. I can put a third one. This is like a $40 card, so who cares if it costs me, 8 cents worth of cardboard to wrap it up. I'll zip it this way, and then I'll throw it in the big poly bag, 2 mil bags I get off of my eBay shipping supplies. So anyway, that's literally about all it is for most of the items that I sell, at least the paper and stuff. If I'm selling like a 35mm slide, it goes in one of this strip. This is what I use for 35mm slide. Comic books, I use this one here. This one will be cut down just like I did the 14-inch cubes. I'll cut this one down into 4 panels. There'll be 4 of these. And then you can mail smaller items and save the price on these, because these are like 12 cents cheaper or 10 cents cheaper than the next size up. But again, this is the small one. This is, I think it even says small on the new ones, but this is the 12-inch square. I use the 14-inch square, then I use the 16 or 18-inch larger size up, the extra large marked boxes. But that's what I use for pretty much everything I ship on a constant basis. And again, I showed you how to do the tubes and the mailing. I do that for all kinds of stuff. You'd be surprised at what you can do with just this basic cardboard. There's all kinds of stuff you can ship. And again, as I said, magazines, large-scale sheet music. I'll go into some more in-depth on another video here, but this is the key items I keep getting questions on how I pack them. So hopefully that explains it to you here, and hopefully that gives you the real good idea on how to ship easily and effectively and cheaply for you. But hopefully that gives you an idea on what to do. Again, Don the Auction Professor, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon up top to be notified when I post new videos. Subscribe and tell a friend.